Welcome. This is To Our Core with Katie Murray, and this is the place where we peel back our layers to uncover who we really are at our centre, at our core. And think of it as a chat with your bestie, the one who can make you laugh until your belly hurts, who is ridiculously unfiltered and will lovingly call you forward to help you cut through the noise and get real with yourself. Around here, nothing is off limits, and we are mixing this up with equal parts humour and heart, so let's dive right in. Welcome back. I am so happy to have you here, whether this is the first episode that you are listening to of To Our Call with Katie Murray, or you have been a follower and a listener from the very start. I am so happy to have you here. Today's episode is going to be touching on something that I don't think that we talk enough about. It might feel a little bit tender, probably more so for me than you, and also I think a lot of people will feel quite seen in this experience, particularly women who, such as myself, I'm in my early 40s, and things have changed very dramatically for me in both the way I think and the way I look and how I feel about myself. And so today's episode is going to be about something that for a long time I didn't even talk about, even though it was shaping exactly how I saw myself every day. And that is a conversation about my body. And it may be a good time for you to reflect on your own relationship with your body. And for me, my relationship with my body has been that I have always, since like teenage years up through till when I was probably about 39, 40, I was always your average size 8. Okay? And I think society has really conditioned, or certainly my experience of society was that we were conditioned to see this size 8 or size 10 or size small on a label as a measure of success. So more specifically, I'm going to be talking about weight gain. I'm going to be talking about identity and what happens when you experience a journey of not recognizing yourself in the reflection, which was certainly my experience. And also finding something much deeper beneath it all. So, spoiler alert, this is not going to be a story about losing weight. This is not going to be a story about making yourself smaller and 3 key tips for how you can shrink yourself more. It is, however, a story about losing the illusion of who I thought I had to be, and in the process of that, finding me again, truly me, to my core, and how incredibly liberating that has been. And for me, my experience of weight gain has really started probably around like my latter months of being 39. And then I went through a pretty significant weight loss. Not so much on the scales, but I really toned up and I got myself very cinched, as some might say. And I was the lightest that I had ever been for many years. And I got a lot of external validation around it. I got a lot of people telling me how great I was and how well I looked and how fit I looked. And so when my weight gain started occurring again for me after that experience of losing a lot of weight, it started in the really ordinary moments, like standing in front of my wardrobe and pulling out a pair of jeans that had always fit. And I always loved jean shopping, and I couldn't really understand when my friends would go, I hate jean shopping. Like, I really hate it. I'd be like, oh, jeans are my favorite thing to wear. And I just walk into the shops and I just can put on any pair and, I always feel great in them. And so jeans for me have always been a go-to for making me feel good. And then I started putting on my jeans And you know that feeling when the zipper just won't budge? Like, that's if you can even get them over your thighs. But like, you're trying to make sense of like, maybe they've just shrunk in the wash, or maybe it's just one of those days I'm a bit bloated. However, over the next few months, it actually became really impossible to ignore that my body was changing, and this was not just a slip of discipline. This was not just that I had been overindulging. This was that I was doing the exact same things that had always given me certain results in the past, and it wasn't working in the same way. And my body was changing. It was gaining weight. My clothes weren't fitting like they used to. And with that came this quiet, uncomfortable grief. Not just because my clothes didn't fit, it was because I didn't fit the image that I'd built myself. And all sorts of thoughts had come up for me. And if you're a long-time follower of my Instagram account, I've been pretty open in the last 12 months about my weight gain. And every time I talk about it, people always say to me, thank you so much for speaking on this issue, particularly women out there. You hear me, you see me, that may be entering the era of perimenopause. And they're like, thank you so much. I felt so seen and so heard in your own story. And this wasn't just about a physical discomfort for me. It was so much deeper than that. It was about an identity discomfort. Like, who was I now if I wasn't the person I used to see in the mirror? If I wasn't the person that could walk into any shop and find ease in finding a pair of jeans? And what would this mean about me if I did no longer fit into a certain size on a label of clothes? And it sounds shallow, and I'm being honest, that I had become so entwined in this identity of being a slim woman that it had formed part of my identity. And this, I think, is so relevant to this current season when the world gets really loud with its expectations. The new year, new me. Set your resolutions. Reinvent yourself. Become smaller, neater, more disciplined. And I was standing there, and have continued to stand there often, staring at a pair of jeans that no longer represented who I was becoming and who I was. And somewhere along the way, I had absorbed the message that smaller meant better. Conditioning is sneaky, isn't it? Where we wouldn't actually, like, I didn't view other people who may have been bigger bodied than me, or may have weighed more than me, or may have had a different shape to me, or may have worn clothes that were, 5 sizes more than me. I never looked at them differently. Like, we were all the same, we're just human beings. However, that's the funny, sneaky thing about conditioning, is that it allows us to set standards for ourselves that we would never, ever, ever apply to anyone else. I had created a story that smaller meant disciplined, meant desirable, meant successful. And if smaller was success, then for me personally, whilst acknowledging the fact that I didn't apply these thoughts or this conditioning to anyone else in how I viewed them, like, what does that mean about me? Does that mean I'm failing? Then if I'm not able to maintain this image of how I've always been through right from young adolescence right through to fairly late in my 30s. And like I said, when I lost that weight right around my 40th birthday, I got a lot of compliments. And guess what? Those compliments reinforced my belief that I was more desirable, more lovable, more disciplined, more successful if I was smaller. Social media reinforces it all the time. How often do you see the before and afters? And I have been the person that's put up before and afters, and we have idealized the smallness of someone. The pressure to have a summer body reinforces it. Summer's coming, time to get ready, need to have my shred season so that I can become smaller, so that I am more palatable in a bikini. Summer's coming, get ready. And so now we've just clocked over, depending on when you're listening to this, but it's currently very early in December. There is a lot of messaging about stepping into your summer body. And what is it ready for? To exist at a beach? To earn the right to have fun? To be accepted? And we do praise weight loss like it is some kind of character development. So when I gained the weight, it wasn't just for me that my clothes felt tight. It was a direct reflection about my own sense of worth. Because I had built part of my identity around the woman who had it all together. And I've spoken about this in episode 1, where I spoke about my value of strength and emotionally being really strong, so that people thought, wow, she can cope with a lot. She's got a lot going on, or she's facing this adversity, and look at her just powering through. Well, it also related to my physical body in how I presented myself. And suddenly, this physical body does not look like who I was even 5 years ago. And don't we just love the Facebook memories that pop up on your phone to remind you that you are not in the body that you used to be? And there's something jarring about looking at your reflection and not recognizing yourself. I would scroll through old photos and think, wow, that saying, I dream of being as fat as skinny as I was when I first thought I was fat. One, I just despise the word fat. I just think that as a society, we have just conditioned that to be really insulting. And so for me, I've always said to my kids, I would rather you swear, not at someone, but I would rather you swear and say, fuck, if you hurt yourself or whatever, than ever turn on someone else and use insults like fat, stupid, lazy, because that messaging in society is told us that that is the furthest thing away than we want. So I would look back on old photos and think, wow, where did she go? What was she doing differently to what I'm doing now? She could eat whatever she wanted. She wasn't going to the gym all the time. There has been times where I have been a gym girl, and there have been other times where the best I could do was walking, and yet still my body maintained this size 8 image. And the thing is that when I ask myself, where did she go? When you look at the old photos, she didn't go anywhere. She evolved. She softened. And she made space for more life. Even the messy parts. And yet I still resisted that evolution. And I tried to control it. And I thought that if I can just get back to that version of me, even like that version of me 3 years ago when I turned 40 and I felt so fit and so cinched and, just so toned, then I'll feel okay again. And the thing is, when New Year's rolls around with all the noise about discipline and motivation and getting back on track and becoming the best version of yourself, it can be really confronting. Because best, in inverted commas, is often code for smaller, more toned, more controlled, more acceptable, more palatable. And deep down, I knew this had nothing to do with weight. It did have everything to do with the meaning that I had attached to it. And so now we're looking at probably a good 18 months for me personally, sitting here now, that weren't just about physical changes. They were about transition. They were looking at, emotional exhaustion, about letting go of things that I didn't have to carry anymore, of hormonal shifts, of motherhood, and of growth. And what I came to realize in that experience is that my body isn't failing me. It was responding, and it has always held me through every season. Every season. And I had been focusing so much on control that I had forgotten to thank it. Thank it for protecting me, for keeping me alive, for literally breathing for me through my sleep so that I don't just die. Our bodies are always helping us. And also, it was asking me to slow down and to redefine how I viewed myself. And when I finally listened, something in me really softened. And I realized that my body does not need to be summer ready. It needs to be life ready. A body that is made to experience joy and movement and rest and pleasure and presence, and that it is not here to perform for a season. It is not here to squeeze myself into clothes that do not fit me anymore, and it is not here to be shrinking. And one morning, I caught my reflection again, and instead of criticism, I felt something unexpected. Curiosity. And that is, what are you trying to show me? That was the question that I asked. What was this reflection of me trying to show me? And the answer for me was that this body wasn't my punishment. It was my mirror. It was reflecting parts of me that I had been ignoring, the parts that needed love, not control, because my body isn't my enemy. It's my home. And homes change. homes change and they expand to hold more life. And this version of me now, yes, it looks different from who I even looked like 3 years ago. And it's not failure, it's evolution. So with the changing shape came something that I actually never experienced or expected, and that is freedom. When my body softened, I began to soften, and I stopped striving for the airbrushed version of myself I thought I needed to be. I stopped preparing to live and postponing my happiness of like, I will feel better when I have this sort of body. And instead, it actually started living. I shared photos without overthinking the angles. Many of you who follow me on Instagram will see me talking at what people may say is unflattering angles. And sometimes I just literally will do a bit of a jump scare and you'll be flicking through my stories. And then sometimes I will, like, you know, how humbling the front facing camera can be on a phone. Well, sometimes I'll just post pictures like that because I want to challenge the narrative that our bodies are here to be visually palatable, pleasing, or from an angle that is easier to receive. And the only way we will do that, and like, you know, AI, has its benefits, yeah. And also, I'm now going through my social media and not even knowing categorically whether what I'm watching is real, like a real human being. I was watching this clip the other day on a reel, and it was like this woman talking about how she was 59 or something, and she looked fit, like she looked really fit. And of course, they had her in the gym outfit, and she was toned and tanned skin. Also, another conditioning that we have to believe that in order to be healthy or look healthy, that we have to be tanned. Also, in saying that, I do love a bit of a fake tan. Just makes me feel like I've got a certain summer glow. And when you live in the climate that I live in, sometimes we need a little additional help because it's not always the warmest climate. But anyway, I was watching this reel of this woman and she was promoting some product that had helped her. And my eyes just locked on this very tiny font. And it said, "This character in this reel is AI generated." And she looked like a real person. Like she looked real. And I thought, we are creating a space, particularly online, where we are holding ourselves to standards that is not even real. So yeah, I'm going to show up on my social media and I'm going to show 3 chins in a very unflattering angle. And I'm not on there to be thin. I'm not on there to be smaller. I'm not on there for people to see me as someone that is only pleasing or is only acceptable when she is capturing herself from her best angles. I recorded episodes when I didn't feel camera ready. I showed up imperfectly. And you know what happened? People connected more deeply. So through this weight gain, I didn't disappear. I became more visible. And it didn't terrify me. It didn't terrify me because I wasn't coming from a place where I was performing anymore. And I had a deep sense of self-trust that I was okay just as I am, regardless of whether or not I lose weight or whether or not I gain weight. And when I talk about my weight gain, I'm talking about like a 15 to 18 kilo weight gain in the space of 18 months. And I was no longer holding myself to an impossible standard. I wasn't shrinking to fit a mold. And with this softness came strength. And with the letting go came peace and freedom. And with the visibility came a much more real and deeper connection with other people. And I realized I don't want a body that is ready for summer. I want a body that is ready for life. So for me, success no longer looks like a smaller version of me. Success looks like ease, like wearing clothes that fit this version of me, knowing that my body may continue to evolve. It may stay the same. It may become smaller. It may become bigger. And also, I can choose that version of me without shame. Success looks like being in photos with my kids, not hiding behind them. It looks like laughing without self-consciousness about whether or not, accentuates my chins. Like those full body laughs allow me a far greater sense of presence and enjoyment than a perfectly filtered or perfectly angled capture of that moment. Success feels like choosing movement because it feels good, not because it earns me a place in the world or it allows me to lose part of me. Kilos on the scales. It doesn't matter. No one has ever walked up to me and said, "How much do you weigh?" Or "What size clothes do you wear?" Because guess what? It doesn't fucking matter. Success looks like me being able to truly be me, which has nothing to do with how I look. And it is about choosing goals for myself from a place of self-love and not self-rejection. So instead of new year, new me, it feels more like new year, same me, embracing it fully, treating myself with more compassion. Because my worth is not measured in accordance with my weight. It never did. I had just told myself a story that is valuable, that is a valuable part of me. And so when I started this journey, I honestly thought like I was losing myself. It wasn't so much even looking in the reflection for me. Like when I look at, and I think this comes down to the fact that I actually have self-trust. I actually have true, authentic, genuine self-love. And so when I look at myself in the mirror, I will be like, "You look great. That outfit looks great on you." It was more when I saw photos of myself that I was like, "Who's that? That's not me." I don't even recognize me. So it was more when I received not feedback in terms of like what people were saying to me, but that like visual representation in a photo where perhaps I wasn't like standing to attention and I wasn't holding my body in a way that would make me appear smaller, that I didn't recognize that. And so a part of me felt like I was losing myself. And now I see that actually I was just shedding who I thought I needed to be. Underneath all of the striving and all the pressure to be smaller or neater or more disciplined was me. The real me. The one who has always been enough. And that experience, that brought me home. To my body, to my truth, and to my core. And before we close today, I want to talk to you about something directly connected to all of this. Because the pressures, the perfectionism, the body expectations, the all or nothing cycles, they are all forms of self-sabotage. Not because we're broken, but because instead we've learned to protect ourselves in ways that keep us small. And that's why in early January, I'm opening the doors to my new program. It's an online program. It's called the Self-Sabotage Solution. And this program is not about fixing you. It is not about making you more disciplined. It is not about molding you into who you think you should be. It is about supporting you to be more you, without shrinking, without performing, without fitting into a version of yourself that doesn't feel like home. And it's about understanding why we get stuck in the same patterns and learning how to break them with compassion, awareness, and practical tools that actually work. I have never been happier. I have never been happier in who I am as a person, in how I use my voice, and how I show up in life than what I do now, even if that looks like, as part of that evolution, that I let go of controlling how I may be perceived or how my body might look. It's about coming home, this program, to the version of you that you've always wanted to be free to be. Not smaller you, not shinier you, a truer you. And the early bird invitation has already gone out to my mailing list. And if spaces remain, doors will open publicly in early January. And if you felt something shift in you during this episode, and if you're ready to stop abandoning yourself and start becoming yourself, your true you, this program is for you. Because you don't need a new you. You just need a you that feels like home. And with that home comes safety, self-trust, self-compassion. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for walking through this journey with me. This is to our core, and at our core, we are already whole. Until next time, I'm Katie Murray. Thanks for spending time with me today on To Our Core. If something landed in your heart or gave you a much needed giggle, consider sharing it with a friend who also may need this as a timely reminder. And go on, you know you want to. Give me a 5-star review so that this podcast can land in the ears of many, many more people. Because remember that life is too short to stay on the surface. Keep living, loving, and laughing all the way to your core. Go make life great. And if you want support around this, go to the show notes to find out more. Until next time, I'll meet you back here with more truth, laughter, and a whole lot of heart.